Welcome to the channel, and thank you for joining this summary of the cure for loneliness by Dr. Bill Howatt. In this video, you'll discover why so many people feel isolated today, how negative thinking and mental traps deepen loneliness, and practical steps you can take to build real, authentic connections in your personal and professional life. If you enjoy content like this, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more audiobook summaries and self-development insights. Authentic social connections are essential for mental health, but many people struggle to build them because of internal barriers, negative thinking patterns, and environmental pressures such as work and technology use. Overcoming loneliness requires both inner work and outer work, intentionally creating psychologically safe, authentic relationships in personal and workplace settings. Key takeaways: genuine social connections play a critical role in supporting and protecting mental health. Many people avoid or postpone social contact because of factors such as low self-esteem, lack of supportive relationships, emotional shutdown, or an overwhelming work or travel schedule. Initial social contacts can gradually deepen into authentic, trusting relationships when people invest consistent time, honesty, and care. Online and virtual interactions can complement but should not replace meaningful, face-to-face human connection. Over-reliance on digital communication can erode social skills and increase feelings of isolation. Negative thought patterns act as mental traps that fuel self-doubt, distort reality, and stop people from reaching out or sustaining social connections. Overview: large numbers of people today feel emotionally cut off, even when surrounded by others, and experience loneliness as a persistent sense of disconnection. Authentic social connections can counter this, but self-imposed barriers, such as fear of rejection and self-critical thinking, often block efforts to connect. In The Cure for Loneliness, Dr. Bill Howatt explains how loneliness and isolation develop, how negative thought patterns create mental traps, and how cognitive behavioral tools and practical exercises can help people build authentic social connections in all areas of life. Part 1. Isolation and Loneliness. Establishing a relationship baseline. High-quality social connections enhance mental health, so it helps to assess how satisfied you are with the key relationships in your life, including your partner, family, close friends, colleagues, acquaintances, and your relationship with yourself. You can establish a baseline by reflecting on 3 dimensions for each relationship: current obligation, how much time, energy, and effort you currently invest in that relationship; desired focus, how much time and effort you would ideally like to invest; charge, the total value or benefit you receive from the relationship, expressed as a percentage. Identify which relationships give you the highest charge, and aim to move more relationships closer to a high charge level, ideally approaching 100% across a variety of social ties, to improve overall well-being. Relying too heavily on a single relationship can create imbalance and increase the risk of isolation and loneliness if that relationship changes or becomes strained. Understanding isolation and loneliness. Isolation often develops when stressors such as financial strain, family conflict, health issues, or addiction consume the time and emotional energy that could be invested in social life. Some barriers are real and practical, while others are perceived or exaggerated by negative thinking. Learning to distinguish and reduce perceived barriers can significantly ease feelings of isolation. Isolation is not identical to loneliness. For example, a person may feel connected at home but isolated at work, or vice versa. Common signs of isolation include feeling empty or unloved, burying yourself in work to escape emotional discomfort, giving up on seeking friendships, feeling unable to share your feelings, and feeling stuck or unsure how to improve your situation. Causes of social connection gaps. People avoid or withdraw from social connections for many reasons, such as low or fragile self-esteem, unrealistic expectations of themselves or others, emotional shutdown or numbness, limited family or social support, excessive work hours or frequent travel. The first step in overcoming isolation is to identify and begin closing these social connection gaps, recognizing that casual contacts can evolve into deep, authentic relationships when nurtured over time. Technology and loneliness. Technology can help reduce isolation by making it easier to stay in touch, especially when physical distance is an issue. However, digital interaction is not a substitute for authentic, in-person connection. Overuse of smartphones, social media, and online platforms can erode face-to-face social skills and crowd out time for real-world relationships. Some people begin to value virtual networks more than offline relationships, investing energy in maintaining large lists of online friends instead of deepening a few meaningful friendships. Compulsive or escapist internet use can push others away and intensify both isolation and loneliness rather than relieve them. Part 2. Escaping the mental trap. How mental traps form. Mental traps develop when negative thoughts are accepted as absolute truth, creating an internal narrative that fuels self-doubt and discourages social engagement. The longer this pattern persists, the harder it becomes to challenge, and the more it widens gaps in social connections. Key contributors include perceived isolation. Seeing yourself as alone can lead to rigid beliefs that prove you do not belong, which shapes your behavior and deepens loneliness. Fight or flight response. Fear protects you from genuine danger, but can become overactive when you fear judgment or rejection, prompting avoidance instead of connection. Thoughts. Persistent negative thinking produces painful emotions and avoidance behaviors, such as withdrawing from people to prevent potential hurt. Negative emotions, states such as shame, guilt, anger, or sadness can sap your energy and narrow your view of what is possible, reinforcing isolating habits. Becoming more aware of these mechanisms helps you interrupt the cycle before it leads to more isolation. How to build resiliency. Mental resiliency is a learnable skill set that helps you shift away from negative thinking and cope more effectively with stress. By practicing specific habits daily and with intention, you can increase your capacity to handle challenges, stay grounded, and keep pursuing social connections even when you feel vulnerable. Helpful resiliency skills include emotional intelligence, cultivating empathy and understanding for yourself and others. Deep breathing, using controlled breathing to calm the body and reduce stress. Cognitive reframing, deliberately generating more balanced or positive interpretations of situations. Mindful visualization, imagining yourself staying calm, confident, and effective in stressful social situations. Journaling, writing about your experiences and emotions to process events and manage stress. Framing to unlock mental traps. Self-control, especially over your internal dialogue, is central to unlocking mental traps and choosing how you respond to loneliness. This means recognizing that negative thoughts originate inside you, learning to replace them with more accurate and constructive alternatives, and being prepared to steer your thinking instead of letting it run automatically. To do this, become more aware of your personal experience with loneliness and how it shows up in your life. Your day-to-day emotional patterns. Specific negative thoughts that influence your mood, behavior, and decisions. How will you manage emotions and impulses under pressure? Persistent worry can darken your outlook and fuel negative thoughts that, in turn, drive self-defeating behavior. When you actively question whether your negative thoughts are accurate, you loosen their hold and create space for more empowering beliefs. Unlocking the mental trap. Challenging negative thoughts is a powerful but demanding skill that can improve every area of life, including relationships. Left unchecked, negative thinking can lead to self-destructive behavior patterns that are difficult to break. Certain personality tendencies are especially vulnerable. Worrier imagines worst-case outcomes, increasing anxiety and leading to avoidance. Commonly asks, what if? Critic fixates on failures and engages in harsh self-talk, often using statements like, I'm stupid, or similar put-downs. Victim feels powerless to overcome obstacles and frequently thinks, I can't. Perfectionist pushes hard but believes efforts are never enough, often thinking, I should, in a self-blaming way. Recognizing which tendencies apply to you is an important step toward interrupting negative patterns and freeing yourself to build healthier social connections. Part 3. Building authentic connections. The path to authentic connections. Forming authentic connections with others starts with an authentic, compassionate relationship with yourself. Treat yourself with kindness. Encourage yourself to try again after setbacks, and allow yourself to be imperfect while still worthy of connection. Authentic relationships rest on psychological safety and mutual desire to connect. Signs of an authentic connection include genuine care for each other's interests and well-being, a shared desire to maintain the relationship, openness and honesty in communication, mutual support in times of difficulty. In contrast, signs of an inauthentic connection include repeatedly breaking commitments, habitual lying, consistently regretting time spent together, or feeling emotionally or psychologically unsafe. Authentic connections can exist across many relationship types. New acquaintances you instantly resonate with, close friends and colleagues, family members, and intimate partners. Relationships also evolve. Someone you barely know can become a trusted confidant, and a relationship you once believed would last forever may come to an end. Because everyone has the freedom to choose their relationships, rejection is always a possibility, but the reasons behind it matter less than how you respond. Being yourself, holding realistic expectations, and viewing rejection as information and learning, not a personal verdict, protect your self-worth and keep you open to future connections, while addressing problematic behaviors such as jealousy, anger, dishonesty, or controlling tendencies supports healthier relationships. Building authentic connections with intention. Improving the quality of your social connections has a direct, positive impact on mental health, and it rarely happens by accident. Intentional, small, micro steps can gradually strengthen both the number and depth of your relationships. Helpful steps include: establish your baseline. Evaluate whether your existing connections feel authentic and satisfying, and assess your confidence in closing social gaps and resisting mental traps when under stress. Imagine success. Create a clear vision of what authentic connection looks like for you, and periodically check how your real relationships compare to that vision. Tune into your motivation. Clarify why you want to improve your social life, such as better mental health, greater fulfillment, or stronger support, so that you stay committed. Evaluate current connections. Reflect on how concerned you are about your relationships with family, partner, friends, professional contacts, and community members. Determine your focus. Decide which area most needs attention right now. Begin and persist. Accept that trying and failing is part of the process. Each attempt teaches you something and moves you closer to your goal. Frame authentic connections. Learn and respect the norms, expectations, and boundaries appropriate to each type of relationship you are building. Measure progress. Review your progress regularly, such as once a month, and adjust your approach as needed. Prepare for experiments. Link actions that trigger fear with neutral or positive responses so you can gradually reduce anxiety. Run social connection experiments. Set specific goals. For example, forming a new professional relationship or deepening an existing friendship, and take concrete steps toward them. Sustained success depends on how effectively you manage mental traps and prevent old negative thought patterns from undermining your efforts. Workplace loneliness and employer responsibilities. The social climate at work significantly affects employees' mental health, as workplaces can either buffer loneliness through strong connections or amplify it through isolation. Emotions spread across teams, so widespread isolation tends to reduce productivity, creativity, and decision quality while increasing health risks and staff turnover. In contrast, environments where employees feel connected and supported see higher retention, engagement, and performance. Leaders can invest in employees' mental health by highlighting the link between social connection and well-being, making connection a strategic priority, and ensuring psychological safety for all employees. To foster psychologically safe, authentic connections at work, leaders can model healthy stress and pressure management, Demonstrate effective teamwork and active listening. Signal approachability and openness to dialogue. Act with integrity so that words and actions align. Support employees through periods of change. Avoid favoritism and treat people fairly. Employees should feel safe, welcomed, and able to voice concerns or ideas without fear of retaliation. By openly discussing psychological safety, encouraging social connection, and paying attention to signs of isolation, leaders help reduce loneliness and build healthier, more resilient workplaces. Conclusion. To conclude, this audiobook reminds listeners that loneliness is not a personal failure, but a signal that social and emotional needs are not being met yet, and that change is possible with awareness and intentional action. By learning to challenge negative thinking, build mental resiliency, and invest in authentic, psychologically safe relationships, anyone can gradually close their connection gaps and create a more fulfilling, less isolated life. Keep practicing the micro steps, be patient with yourself, and allow each new interaction to be a chance to grow. If you found this summary helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future summaries and self-development content.